So every single year, there are those collection of bad movies that kind of break out of the phantom zone of obscurity and get into the public consciousness, and everybody points at them and goes, "Oh, these are the worst films of the year." Everybody point and laugh at how bad these movies are. These are the worst movies of the year. And every single year we watch those films for the Gauntlet of Garbage. I always walk away from them going, yeah, they were bad, but I mean, you haven't seen the stuff that I've seen.
Not as bad as...
I mean, I've seen worse than this year. It's bad, but it's not one of the worst films of the year. And this year, The Fanatic was one of those movies. It was one of those movies that practically became a meme on the internet of people talking about how bad it was. There's a bunch of famous reviews out there on YouTube of people talking about how bad The Fanatic is. Everybody kept telling me for the Gauntlet of Garbage, you gotta watch The Fanatic this year. And I went to this, like, prepping myself, going, yeah, I've done this enough times to know what's going to happen. It's going to be bad, but it's not going to be that bad. It's not going to be as bad as everyone says. I've definitely seen worse. I have seen worse this year, but oh my god, this was still as bad as everyone said.
Yeah.
Holy crap, this thing was terrible. You want to know how bad this was? This is our second time recording this review. Because we just broke down the first time that we recorded this review. We just flames on the side of my face. We had to just constantly stop every time that we were trying to record the first review. We had like 8 different cuts in it. Because we were just like, I don't know what I want to say about this.
We just can't.
If this one doesn't work out, we're going to record a third review that's just me going, and that's the review. It's gonna be the shortest thing I do, and then there's gonna be like 20 minutes of darkness after that. Yeah, so The Fanatic is all about this character named Moose who lives out in Hollywood, and he is obsessed with this one actor named Hunter Dunbar. And one day, he finds out that Hunter Dunbar is going to be coming to his comic book store?
Well, it's not his. Like, he doesn't actually work there.
But it's the one that he frequents.
Goes to.
Yeah, but it's, like, I don't know if it's a comic shop or what.
It's like a knick-knack store
it's kind
for
of
like geeky stuff.
Like a geeky souvenir store,
Yeah.
which maybe that is more of a common thing out in Hollywood because you think about how many people will be buying like collectible memorabilia.
Yeah,
that might be a thing.
That
but
makes sense.
Yeah, that's out of all the things to nitpick in this film. What the hell this store is not one of them. So he finds out that Hunter Dunbar is going to be coming to his store. He spends all his money to buy this jacket from one of his movies. He goes up there, waits in line, waits there for a long time, gets up to the front of the line, and then Hunter Dunbar gets called away. Goes out back. He has to talk to his wife. His wife is like, why didn't you come and pick up your son? It's like, well, I couldn't take him to this thing right here. You had to watch him right now. It's like, well, you're a bad father. Well, I'm sorry. And Moose doesn't understand boundaries for reasons that we'll get to in a moment. Mm-hmm. So he's going up there and he is just like hanging out like hey, what are you doing? You talking to someone in that car right there? Huh? Mm-hmm. Oh, what are you doing over there? And then Hunter Dunbar just goes, dude, you gotta get the fuck away from me right now. And then he just leaves the signing. And Moose is not okay with this. So Moose starts tracking this guy down, finds out where he lives, starts breaking into his house. Like at first it's about, I just want to get my autograph. But you can tell it's more than that. It's like, oh, I now know where this guy lives. This actor who I love, even though nobody at home really knows what kind of an actor this guy is. Yeah, that's one thing. Like, for a film that's about someone being so obsessed with an actor, we only see about 5 seconds of any of his movies. We keep hearing the names of his movies. Mm-hmm. So, like, I guess he does horror and action and sci-fi. Like, he's a Bruce Campbell type, basically, is what he is. He's one of those guys that he is a B-class actor, just stars in a bunch of cheesy films. All right, cool. But yeah, he eventually becomes more and more obsessed with him and starts tracking him down and then starts, like, getting stalker-ish. Even
I am not a stalker!
My God, it's been days since we've seen this and I already forgot. Oh, they tried to make that a tagline. They tried to make that a catchphrase in here. Okay.
Like, he keeps saying that, but it's like, yeah, you are.
Oh, you're totally. Nobody is sitting your ass down and explaining to you what a stalker is.
It's like, here, let's take out a dictionary and we'll read you the definition of the word stalker so you understand.
Yeah.
Like.
Which that's the first thing that we have to get into in this film. The biggest problem with this movie. There's no one to root for in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, at all. It really feels like this movie was 2 scripts. Like, the premise was pitched to 2 different people. And one person was pitched the idea of a stalker who starts hunting down a celebrity and will not let this celebrity go. And the other person decided to interpret this pitch as, oh, this is about a fan who has this terrible celebrity turn on him, and now he has to escape from this terrible celebrity. And it feels like the two of them were on their way to present this script to Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. I didn't stutter.
No.
And then they collided into each other, dropped their scripts, and then just shuffled them together into one solid script and handed that in because, oh my God, this film will show you Moose doing terrible things. But then like a second later, it'll be like, yeah, but it's not Moose's fault. Moose is totally the good guy in here. Is he? Is he? I don't believe that for a second.
No.
But then like Hunter Dunbar will seem like the victim, but then he's a total sociopathic monster. But then it's like, well, he's a really good dad, but he's not a really good dad. But no, he actually is a really good dad. What? Movie! What are you? What are you? What are you trying to be? You have to help me, movie.
And like, it's not just like those two main characters, it's everybody.
Oh, God.
Like, all the background characters or the sidekicks and everything, like...
Every character changes from, like, scene to scene. Like, there's this one guy who he is... Oh, God, we should probably give some setup for this. What Moose does for a living is that Moose is one of those guys that you see out there on... I'm assuming that they also exist in Hollywood. They definitely exist in New York. They're the guys in Times Square going around just like Elmo and Mickey Mouse and Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Yeah, like,
getting photos with people, which, if you ever come to New York, don't take photos with those people. No, don't do it.
I don't know why you would. Like, their costumes are so shitty.
Their costumes are, well... It's because a lot of people think, oh, it's because the city provides these people. It's like they're part of the city. They are not! They're not at all! I am stunned that those people are like, we kind of shrugged and gave up on them. Because it's kind of like the raccoons in New York, because I remember when raccoons first started appearing in New York City, I remember all these advertisements around going, if you see a raccoon, make sure that you report it to people immediately. Make sure that you take care of this immediately. We cannot have raccoons infesting New York. And then there were all these other reports, like a couple months later, if you see a raccoon, just don't make eye contact and just walk away from it. So no more reporting, just avoid it. And then like a year after that, I saw a sign on the subway that said, getting used to your new New York neighbor, the raccoon. I went, oh, so we just surrendered. We just were like, yeah, the Isle of Manhattan belongs to the raccoons now. All right.
Except the raccoons aren't threatening you for money.
That's true, yeah. No raccoon has ever tried to strong-arm you into going, I saw you take that photo over there, you owe me money. It's like, I was just taking a selfie with my friend. I was in the background, motherfucker, you owe me money. That's a thing, like, don't even take your camera out in Times Square if those guys are anywhere in your line of sight. Yeah, holy crap. But that's right for another day. But he's one of those guys, so he's dressing up as famous characters on the boardwalk in Hollywood. What character do you think that he is dressing up as on the boardwalk? One, out of all the characters you can name, like let's name up what we know about Moose. He is really into movies, specifically horror movies. Specifically the horror movies of Hunter Dunbar. So maybe Hunter Dunbar was in a film with a character that would be really good for him to dress up as, to show how obsessed he is with this character. And maybe later on when he feels betrayed by Hunter Dunbar, there could be this big scene of him burning the costume he'd been wearing, or maybe he used that costume to stalk down Hunter Dunbar. And, oh man, there's a lot of fascinating things that you could do with that. Yeah, so clearly that's what they did in this script, right?
Nope.
He is an old-timey British cop. Like one of those Bobby cops with like the big helmets and the mustache and like the twirly batons and just going around like, oh, London Bridge is over there. Hello, hello. That's what he is doing on the boardwalk in Hollywood. And all I could think looking at that was, nobody goes to fucking Hollywood to get a photo with an old-timey British cop. Nobody does that. At all. And also, again, I have to go back around to this. The movie is about a guy who is obsessed with an actor who has been in movies that, granted, we never really hear about in these movies, but you can tell just from the title of these movies and the genre of films that we know Moose likes, there's gotta be some dude in a costume in one of them. How How did you fuck that up?
Like as soon as we see like Moose getting to his house, I was expecting like his room to be like filled with all these movie posters of Jeff Dunbar and everything, but it's like
you would have had to go Photoshop for that shit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We ain't got Photoshop money.
Yeah, like that's the thing. This movie is cheap.
Well,
as far as like props go,
I guess. Yeah, I am very curious to know what the budget of this film was, because it's kind of all over the place. It's not like there's anything really expensive in here, but I kept looking at this going, yeah, they did rent out a nice house, but could that be one of their houses? I don't know. And also, like, this movie's shot with professional cameras, and I mean, when people are driving, yeah, it's bad green screens, but I've seen worse green screens in some of the movies we've seen this year. There were professionals working on this film, I guess, but I have to go back around to this. Like, I'm not ready to leave this one. What kind of incompetence does it take for you to go, all right, we need him to be in a costume of something. What costume could we possibly get for this film about this guy obsessed with a particular movie? Oh my God, how did that just fly right past you? Like, this isn't me coming in here and going, I could have written a better script than that. I definitely could not have written a better script for the mere fact that I just said the word roten. But this is me coming in here going, like, this is such a slam dunk that they literally put the ball in your hand, lifted you up, and hovered you like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible style right over the basket. Like, all you had to do was let go of the ball. And then you just, like, decided to eat the ball and poop it out. How did you fuck this up on that level? But sorry, okay. But anyway, we were talking about how characters just change constantly throughout here. There's this guy on the strip with him who he's like a street magician.
Yeah?
Which...
I guess.
He's a street magician. One of the things he does is he jams a nail into his nose and does that trick, which we've seen people do, but... I've seen people do that and they don't bleed from it. This dude is like gushing like a freaking geyser out of his nose. So it's like, clearly you're not good at this stunt.
Unless that's supposed to be fake blood and he does it for like...
It was definitely fake. Like, it feels like it was fake blood. But again, I've seen other people do that where they don't bleed at all. So why do you think that putting fake blood all over your face would get more people to come? If anything, that would scare people away from this thing. Anyway, that's not here or there. But this guy, he's supposed to be the big hotshot on the boardwalk. He's the guy who gets all the business and gets all these people to come over, although his salesmanship is terrible. Like, the people who go onto the subway to dance and just go, showtime, showtime, those people have better performances and better showmanship than this guy has. This guy's just like, ladies and gentlemen, crowd around me right now. It's like, dude, on the fucking boardwalk, you have to fight harder than that to get attention. But there's a point later on, which, by the way, it turns out that guy has like a lackey who goes around pickpocketing people while he's distracting them with this, but that's not even remotely important to any of this. That's a plot line that goes nowhere.
But it's supposed to show that these people
that he's
are
a bad guy.
And Moose is a good guy because he doesn't pickpocket people when he tries to get photographs with them.
Yeah, he doesn't pickpocket people. He just breaks into their houses and commits murder. But
only if he's obsessed with them.
Yeah. Again, you don't know if you're supposed to like this guy or not. So anyway, yeah, there comes a moment where they're like picking on him, and which I'm sure there are those jerks, but this is a grown-ass man, like late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, but they're acting like high school boys.
Grown-ass adult, and you're acting like a high school boy. And Moose there's like, why don't you leave me alone? And it's just picking on Moose. And then a security guard comes in there, which I don't even know what he does security for. He has security on the back of his shirt, but like we had not seen this guy before this moment in the film. It really feels like they were sitting there going, someone has to come in here and give Moose some kind of an inspirational moment. Someone has to come in here and just dole out advice. Security guard, but they're in a public restroom. There would be no security guard for a public restroom. Okay, he's here. All right. Well, all right, fine. So the guy goes in there and just goes, Moose, you gotta stand up for yourself, man. Which, by the way, This guy, he had not been seen throughout the entire film, but he's just coming in there like, yeah, Moose, you know how we're close friends and we've been connected for this long? I was like, no,
like that's the thing is like they give the idea that everybody knows Moose.
Yeah, like the entire city of Hollywood is Cheers. Like Moose walks into a place, Moose. No, what? Okay, so everybody just knows Moose, and everybody loves Moose, except for that one bad guy. Oh,
well, that one evil celebrity. Shame on him.
Man, he tells him like, Moose, oh yeah, you have to start standing up for yourself. And later on, there's a scene where that guy appears again, not the security guard, but the street magician guy. He appears, and he's now clearly like doped up on drugs. And Moose, you gotta help me out. I got this great idea, Moose. Come on, you gotta help me out with this. Like, you hate Moose. Why are you asking Moose for help? Why is this a thing now that's happening in this film? And
he's on drugs, so that's
fine. Fuck it. So then Moose starts choking him out and going, I wish that Freddy Krueger would cut your head off and it would roll into the street and it would splatter and blood everywhere as the truck ran over and everyone would watch it. That's the actual line, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then the guy goes right off, and then the security guard magically appears again and just comes up to us like, Moose, are you okay? Are you gonna call the cops on me? Am I in trouble? No, Moose, I'm proud of you. You finally should have stood up to him. And it feels like after that moment, Moose would then like go, yeah, I should stand up to people.
Yeah, like
No, he never like seems to think about that ever again.
Like you would think that'd be like where the story like kicks off, like where he finally snaps and he like gets his revenge on the celebrity he loves so much that decides to ignore him and everything.
But no, he decides to just keep going around the celebrity's house like, hi, Mr. Dunbar, can I come in? All right, it really feels like that should have been the inciting incident. Mm-hmm. And I know someone's going to say, well, you know, which, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. No one's going to say it. No one's coming in here to defend this movie. But I can see the justification in the writer's head being, that was another little piece of the puzzle. It's like, yeah, that was a piece of the puzzle, but when you put that in, you then have to keep adding pieces to the puzzle. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of the puzzle if you immediately after finding it, shove it back under a couch cushion to be lost for the next half hour. This guy, he comes in here, tells Moose, yeah, you should start standing up to people. And then he doesn't proceed to start standing up to people. That doesn't become a thing. But they're playing scary music over this moment like, oh, Moose is about to go off. And then there comes another moment where he lives with this lady who she's the narrator, and she is an awful narrator. Not her fault, by the way. It's the writing on this thing. It is the writing. Because this thing, it opens up with Hollywood, or as I call it, the city of bullshitters. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. It's like a lot of people like to shit on the actors in this movie, but it's like they're doing their job. It's the writers and the directors that are.
Let's put a pin in that, but remind me to come back to it because we need to come back to that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, like he lives with this lady, and she is like one of these paparazzi. She gets photos of celebrities being drunk. So again, no real hero in any of this.
Yeah, and like she basically
wants to know how she finds where people live. She introduces him to an app that shows them celebrity houses, and he used that to start tracking people down, start tracking Hunter Dunbar down. And then after she finds out what he's doing, she then says, you can't keep doing that. And then the dark music starts coming in, the dark scary music, and Moose is staring her down and goes, you know what? You're blocked! I'm blocking you! And then he walks away. I just went, that's not a threat. That's not scary music moment.
No.
That is not the scary music moment here. This movie, again, it doesn't know when it's supposed to be a horror film, when it's not supposed to be a horror film. It doesn't even know if it wants to be a horror film.
Yeah.
Because again, this movie, it kind of ends, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but this is all part of a larger picture, so stick with me. This movie ends with Moose being like the hero, and oh, thank goodness that Moose got out of this. Okay, we're all so glad that Moose is okay, everyone. And like, the fucking poster for this thing is him holding a knife and looking like he's going to stab someone. And he gets away at the end of all this, and we're supposed to be going, oh, thank goodness Moose got away, everyone. After he breaks into someone's house, ties them up, and makes it seem multiple times like he's going to murder them. But we, the audience, are supposed to know, no, he wasn't actually going to do that. Moose was just here to show off, like, how much he likes horror films by trying to reproduce them. What the fuck makes you think any of that's okay? Why is any of this okay? Why are we now supposed to hate Hunter Dunbar in this moment? When he gets out of this and starts fighting back, which, yes, Hunter Dunbar fights back a little too much. He's kicking the shit out of Moose in here. But Moose tied him up. He took out a knife and started stabbing Hunter Dunbar with it, only to go, it was a fake knife. See, it's a joke. It's not real. But here's a gasoline can. Splashes gasoline all over him. No, don't set me on fire, don't set me on fire. It's water. I tricked you again. You can't do the goddamn it's not a real threat thing twice in a row. What? You have to make at least one of these things real. Otherwise, we're sitting here going, oh my god, this is awkward. Like, it's like watching a high school play. It kind of is just like, oh my god, just say the line. Just say the line and be done with this scene. Yes, we know it's not real. Yes, we know it's not. Just say the line. Just say the line and be done with it already. Okay. So, I'm sure I'm going to get back to these issues later on. But we do have to get into this. As you said, it's not really any of the actors' faults in here. And I have to bring this up because the number one thing that everybody is going to point at this film and make fun of it for is, I almost said John Lithgow. What's his name?
John Travolta.
Thank you. Oh my god. I had the biggest brain fart right there. John Travolta's acting. He's Back to the Futuring on me. He's made so many bad movies in a row. He's fading from that photograph in my mind. Pretty soon, like, Sylvester Stallone is going to replace him in my memories of Saturday Night Fever. So, anyway, I'm sorry, I'm picturing that in my head now. Yeah, so everybody's going to make fun of John Travolta's performance in here, because John Travolta, his performance of Moose, and this is something that deserves a discussion in and of itself, but he is playing this character who he's supposed to have some kind of a disorder. Yeah, it's never said what it is, which I think was their way of trying to get out of any controversy around this. Like, hey, we didn't say what it was. We didn't even say if he has a condition. Maybe this is just some behavior of his, but there's no condition or anything. No, we're not trying to paint any group of people in any kind of light on this because we didn't say anything about it. It's like,
yeah, but even if they didn't say it, it's very much heavily implied.
Motherfucker, we know what you did.
We know. And it's very ableist, and that's honestly like one of my biggest peeves. One of my many peeves.
I know you want to come around to this, so I'm gonna let you talk on this.
Because, like, I'm just sick and tired of, like, Hollywood portraying people with, like, mental disorders or mental conditions as, like, stupid or evil or, like, not that they can't function normally in our society. And it's very hurtful and upsetting, and it needs to stop. Yeah. But this movie is not helping.
This movie isn't helping, but it's almost so bad that I can't be upset about that. Like, it's almost so bad that I kind of feel like if you look at this, even somebody who is ableist would look at it and just go like, oh yeah, that's not real. That nobody's actually like that. Like,
let's hope so.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can give this film is that I think it fucked up so much it can't be controversial. I think that is the only thing I can give this film.
Well, I'm not letting it get away with this.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not letting it go. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about this thing. I'm just saying, like, normally if I saw another film out there that was this, like, prejudiced and bigoted against a group of people, I would be far more pissed, but this is so incompetent that I almost feel like, I almost feel like that's not even the biggest problem with this film, but it's still a huge problem with this film that needs to be talked about. Yeah, that's, like I said, we had to record this thing twice, and the first time that we tried to record this, we had to keep stopping over and over again just to go, alright, I don't want to discuss this, but we do need to discuss this thing. It needs to be addressed. It is the giant elephant in the room on this. But a lot of people are going to be making fun of how bad John Travolta's performance is in here, in the depiction of this character. And I'm going to say something that I promise you, hold on a second, let me get to the end of the explanation here. I do not think that, thank you, car outside, that was very well timed. I do not think that John Travolta gave a bad performance in here. ... I think that it was entirely the fault of the writer and the director, because a bad performance is when you don't do the thing that you're supposed to do in the movie. I think John Travolta was told to do exactly what he did in this movie, and he did that thing that he was told to do 110%.
It just happened to be
I think that it's just that he was told to do the exact wrong thing. I think that there was just massive problems with what he was told to do in here. And that is why I can't really look at John Travolta and be like, yeah, you did a terrible job in here. Let's all point and laugh at John Travolta. I'm like, dude, John Travolta just showed up to work, and unlike a lot of people that would have been in this position who would just phone it in, I almost have to respect John Travolta for not phoning it in. Like, there's moments where Moose is crying, and I'm like, wow, he's actually crying in that scene, because John Travolta can actually act. But I am not laying the writer and director off the hook for this terrible character that they wrote, or the terrible lines they gave him to read. I am not laying them off the hook at all. What the fuck was wrong with you? And I know some people are going to say, well, John Travolta should have known better. John Travolta was in Gotti last year.
Yeah.
John Travolta was in Gotti, and he put his own money into that film. I mean, he's going to be in 2 Worst of the Year films in a row for me. And I'm just looking at John Travolta like, this dude needed a win. And I honestly think John Travolta, he's not a horror guy. I mean, he was in Carrie like 40 fucking years ago, but that was like one of his first roles. That doesn't mean that you're a horror guy. John Travolta is not a horror guy, and right now we have a horror resurgence going on in this country, in which we're seeing horror films get nominated for Best Academy Award, and people are really respecting the amazing performances being put into horror films. I have a feeling like someone came to John Travolta and said, listen, this is another big indie horror film. It's got a unique performance in there that is unlike anything you have ever done, and it's going to allow you to show off your range. You're going to blow people away with this. No one would expect this performance from you, which that actually turned out to be true. But I really believe, like John Travolta, at a time when he just really needed something, someone came to him with the hot new thing that was going on in Hollywood that everybody was being praised for at the moment, and he thought, oh, this is it? This is my ticket. He might have read this script and said, this is fucking garbage. This is awful. But I don't know anything about horror, so if this is what a good horror thing is, I'll sign up for this. So I don't blame him for this. I blame the writer and director.
He needs to make his money back somehow.
Well, I mean, he is a millionaire, but listen, man, putting a lot of your money and your time into a movie that was your passion project, and it didn't work out for you, and everybody called it one of the worst of the year, that's gotta hurt. Like, no matter how much money you have, that has to be a big blow to your ego. So I can understand him being like, listen, people are saying that I'm one of the worst actors out there right now. I gotta do something that shows that I can still act. Oh, no. Whoever is telling you what movies to be in, they're not your friend. They're not. Stop listening to them. If they're your agent, fire them. If they're like your close coworkers, stop listening to them. They're not helpful. If it's the Church of Scientology, listen, just get out, man. Get out now while you still can. Anywho, so yeah, it's the character of Moose is super problematic, but it's one of those rare times in which I'm looking at the situation that this guy was in, and I'm just like, you're like the only person here that I don't blame for this. I blame everyone else involved for this movie. So anyway, let's go ahead and get back into this. Yeah, this film, it has no idea what it wants to be, because this film, it constantly plays the scary music around Moose. Like Moose is about to do something terrible and horrible. But no, y'all like Moose, right? Yeah, you like Moose. Why? Why do I like Moose other than the fact that other characters in this film like Moose? But I don't like those characters. Like, the people who like Moose is the paparazzi lady who all we know about her is that she's the paparazzi, and hell, this thing even begins with her using Moose to try and get photos of people drunk. Or it's the security guard who has no purpose other than to just come up and go, hey, Moose, you gotta pick yourself back up and fight back. Or the I'm gone.
Or the comic book guy shop
who's just the comic book guy shop. He's there to be a plot device. That's it. Everyone in this movie is incredibly unlikable. And it's not like you can't make movies where everyone is unlikable, but you can't make movies where everyone is unlikable and then pretend like someone is likable. Because, as I said, it feels like they don't know if you're supposed to like Moose in this film. There's a moment where he breaks into Hunter Dunbar's house. And this isn't even the second time that he does, where he ties Hunter Dunbar up. This is when he comes in and he just starts like hiding in the house, like watching everything. And again, when he's watching, they're playing like psycho music, like when Norman Page is staring through the peephole in that film. There is like freaky stalker stuff going on. I don't want to say horrifying stalker stuff because that makes it sound like a horror film was actually scary, and it's never, ever, 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 ever that. But he is like spying on the house and everything. But this all comes after the maid comes in and finds him in the yard and runs out there with the cheapest looking fake trophy that you've ever seen. Like, it's the kind of trophy that you go to a trophy shop and you go, I just gotta get something. Here, this guy's holding up a star, let's get that.
No, that was a trophy for his son. Like,
that's
it's a participation
That's the
award.
only explanation. Because again, Hunter Dunbar's been in nothing but shit films as it's been established in this movie, or at least it's heavily implied he is a B actor, so it's like you haven't been anything that'd get you an award, unless it's like, one of those sci-fi awards that just go out to everyone. No offense to anybody who's won a sci-fi award, you're far more talented than I'll ever be. But she runs out there with this, and then she starts getting into a fight with Moose. Moose knocks her back, she falls, hits her head on a bird bath, and then he just looks down and is like, oh, that's gotta be a nosebleed. I had a nosebleed once. It'll be okay. You just need to clog your nose up. You'll be fine. And we're just sitting there like,
she's not getting up.
Moose just murdered someone.
Yeah.
Moose killed someone. And then it goes into like a jokey thing, like it's playing the scary music, but then it immediately goes into, oh yeah, Moose doesn't even know what he did.
Yeah.
Moose doesn't even know what murder is.
Yeah, it's like, how are we supposed to feel for this character when he doesn't even comprehend that he murdered somebody?
Which again, that's one of the reasons why I say, like, listen, yeah, this film, it is incredibly offensive, but I can't be too offended at it because it's so stupid in its portrayal that I'm just like, I honestly, like, this doesn't feel like a real person to me. Like, this never once felt at all even close to reality for me. So, yeah, he ends up murdering someone, and there comes a moment in which he is in Hunter Dunbar's house at night, like sneaking around while Hunter Dunbar is asleep, like taking photos of him and kissing his forehead while he's asleep. And there came that moment in which we stopped and went, wait, is the maid still in the backyard? Hold up. Wait. Stop. Hold on. Has no one noticed there's just a dead person in the backyard? And I was like, okay, it's going to be discovered in the morning. It's going to be discovered in the morning. Hunter Dunbar came back. He decided, I'm just going to like rest up for the night, just relax. I'm not going to go into my backyard tonight. All right, that's fine. That is understandable. But first thing that happens in the morning is he's going to wake up, go out on his porch, look out, see the dead body there. No, that doesn't happen. Like,
and also, like, he's supposed to be having, like, an affair with this maid.
He's having an affair with the maid.
So, like, wouldn't he be wondering where this person is that he's, cheating on his wife with? Or, like...
No, well, it's his ex-wife.
Ex-wife, fair enough.
He's not cheating on her, yeah.
Yeah, but,
However, even if he wasn't having an affair with her, it's still the maid.
Yeah, it's like...
Wouldn't you go, hey, why didn't she come in today? Where is she?
Why didn't she clean any of this up?
The only excuse I can make for this, is that because he kissed her and then afterwards he was like, oh, God, I'm an idiot, I kissed the maid again, she didn't want me to do that, and okay, I was too forceful with it, okay, I'm sorry. The only excuse I can make is that maybe he was saying, oh, she felt too uncomfortable to come in, so I'm not going to question it. But you have to show us that.
Yeah.
You have to show us his reasoning for thinking why the maid might not have come in on the day. Or the day after. Or the day... We don't
even know how
Time means nothing in this film. There comes a moment, the second time that Moose ends up breaking into the house, it felt like weeks had passed since the first time. And I was just like, so is she just like starting to smell in the backyard at this point? Like, there have to be flies and vultures gathering at this point. There have to be at this point. She's been out there for days at this point. But during this thing, at the end of this movie, he ties Hunter Dunbar up, and then, like we said, he does the fake stabbing with the knife. I fooled you. Fake gasoline. I fooled you. And then he's like walking around the house. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Nigh the living dead. You should have known that. I was like, are you gonna like kill him or what, man? Because you got this guy tied up, and all you're doing is just quizzing him on horror movie quotes. There's nothing that will cause me to feel tension for this guy, because I know you, Moose, are not going to do anything. And then eventually, Hunter Dunbar is able to break free, and he blasts Moose's hand off with a freaking shotgun. Mm-hmm. Which we actually laughed out loud at that because the special effects are so cheesy at that moment.
Yeah, and it was just like so overblown.
So it's so over the top and doesn't match the tone of anything else in this film. And he kicks Moose down the stairs and is kicking the shit out of him.
And stabbing him in the eye.
And he stabs him in the eye.
As shooting his hand off wasn't enough. Like, he has to, like, stab him also. It's like...
And again, if this had been a film where that level of violence had been established up until this point, we could, like, be like, okay, this fits. But we're like 10 minutes left in this movie, man. You can't come in here with stuff like that now. It doesn't fit now. And then he comes in there with this super violence. And I'm looking at this going, I should really feel bad for Moose. But he broke into this guy's house multiple times, murdered the maid,
and tied him up.
And tortured him. Even if it's not physically, he psychologically tortured this guy. If you break into someone's house, tie them up, and psychologically torture them after they've told you multiple times, get the fuck away from my house, I'm not going to really be that concerned for you when they start fighting back,
yeah.
man. I mean, yeah, he's going over the top on this thing, but I'm still not feeling bad for Moose at this moment. And then it looks like he's going to murder Moose, and he just goes,
wait, what am I doing?
I almost killed Moose, the most beloved man in all of Hollywood. He opens the door, just lets Moose get out. And if you want to talk about how this film never has any tension, nothing sums that up even more than the scary music, I'm blocking you. Well, that's not a thing. Oh my God, he's stabbing him. No, he's not actually stabbing him. Okay. He's actually going to murder Moose. How's Moose going to get out of this? We don't know the answer to this. What is actually going to happen? There's no way out. Now get the fuck out of my house.
Like, I feel like...
He just lets him go!
I feel like that they wanted that to be a more intense and purposeful...
It's supposed to be the moment where Hunter Dunbar looks at himself and goes, what have I become?
Yeah, but...
Dude!
Once again...
I'm sorry.
He broke into your house.
Hunter Dunbar has said some mean things to Moose. That doesn't make him the big, like, supervillain in this whole... That doesn't make him the slasher of the slasher film.
And, like, Hunter is not a perfect person, but he still isn't as bad as Moose. Like...
Yeah, exactly. They're like, okay, he's kind of a dick. That's not enough for me to go, and now the what have I become moment. The what have I become thing is really only in contrast to the way he behaves in the final 5 minutes of this film, which doesn't match up with how he was behaving the rest of the film. But in all honesty, you can't even blame him for behaving that way at the last 5 minutes of this film. So, I'm sorry, I feel nothing for this. Like, I don't give a shit if his heart grew 3 times its size that day. I don't care. Oh my God. So it's one of these things where the only tense thing, the only thing where we look at it and we're like, I don't know what's going to happen now. They just decide to have him let Moose go. So this is a slasher film where you never have to be afraid of anyone for any reason. Oh my God.
You're just incredibly pissed off at how annoying and stupid and horrible everyone is. That's all.
And this was the thing. I'm going to let you go on this for a moment, but I got to give the setup for this thing because it's so fucking bad. This is the thing that you were the most upset about in this film. Well, no, you were most
One of the many things.
You were the most upset about the ableism, but as far as plot goes in this film, this is what you were the most upset about. Where at the end of this, Moose goes, he's walking down the street, he's bleeding, and then his friend, his roommate, stops, sees him, goes over, grabs him, pulls him aside, he's like, we're gonna give you some help, it's gonna be okay. And then it cuts back to Hunter Dunbar in his house, but it's apparently like 5 minutes after Moose left, even though we've already seen Moose walking out in the sunlight. So, in other words, this would have, okay, it's the cops show up. But they show up apparently like 5 minutes after Moose left, so they would have had to have passed a bloodied man with one hand walking down the street.
Oh, he's just a street performer.
Oh God, we're not even gonna get into that. There's a whole other thing. That was a weird thing to bring up at the last second in here. But the cops show up, and they've got his gardener there. We haven't even mentioned the gardener, but they've got his gardener there. And apparently the gardener found the maid's body and reported it to the cops, but this is the dead of night. This is the goddamn dead of night. So, I'm sorry, did the gardener come for some night gardening? And that's when he found the body and reported to the cops? Like, did he find the body the previous day but decided not to move it or anything and decide, I'm just gonna wait until the middle of the night to go and tell the cops about this? Oh, that's when the cops who really care about this stuff are going to be on the force. Always go in the middle of the night. Yeah, absolutely. So they show up there and he's got blood on his shirt from where he stabbed Moose. And they're like, clearly you're the one who murdered the maid. Even though that's fresh blood and the maid's been there for days now. And also, why the fuck did... Seriously, when the fuck did the gardener find the maid?
I don't know.
Why is it still the middle of the night right now? So, this film ends with Hunter Dunbar, the guy whose greatest sin is that he fought back against the guy who broke into his house, tied him up, and psychologically tortured him, and he was kind of a dick to him before that, ends up going to jail for the murder that guy did, and we're supposed to feel good about that. The music is like, yes, Hunter Dunbar got what he deserved, and Moose is okay. Everyone's like, Moose is the only one who actually murdered anyone in this film.
Moose should have been the one who went to jail. Like, honestly, that's another thing that pissed me off.
Moose is the one who broke, 90% of the laws broken in this film. He's the one who committed 90% of the crimes in this movie. And we're supposed to feel good about him like, oh, but Moose was okay, everyone. Fuck that guy.
No, it's like, I feel like the people who made this movie were like, oh, but Moose got his hand shot off and his eye poked out, so that he that's enough punishment. He's learned his lesson. It's like...
We are given no, reason to believe that Moose has learned his lesson.
Exactly.
There is no indication that Moose learned anything from any of this. Mm-hmm. And yet we're just supposed to be like, yeah, Moose. Because Moose. That's it, yeah. He's got a beloved nickname, everybody. Come on, that's all you need. Yeah, it is. This is some of the laziest goddamn storytelling I've seen all year. Like, this is perplexing. It is stunning how much it jumps back and forth between what you're supposed to be feeling. So it never, like I said, there is no better, explanation for this than it feels like two scripts that had two different ideas shoveled together like a deck of cards. That's all this was. One where Moose was the hero and one where Moose was the villain. And
then the finale was the chalk drawing.
Again, this thing, it tries to be artsy, and again, this is why I say I really feel like John Travolta got tricked into being into this movie, because I feel like there's so many things in here that seem like they were going to be artsy things, and maybe someone else could have taken that idea and done something good with it. But every now and again, it just stops, and there's this chalk drawing of Moose, and it's like, okay, is that Moose's drawings? Can Moose draw? Or are these the thoughts inside his head? Is someone else doing the chalk drawings? Are they being done by no one, and they represent nothing, and they're here for no reason? What is the reasoning behind this? Why are they here? But at the end of this, we see, Moose turned out, okay? And then there's a chalk drawing of him dressed as a pirate with an eye patch and a hook on his hand. So that's now the thing that he does on the boardwalk rather than the Bobbycock. But if no one's going up to the Bobbycock, why is anyone going up to random pirate guy? And why would that start bringing in business?
Here's the thing, and the paparazzi girl, the narrator, she's like, Moose sees these injuries as a badge of honor. And it's like, oh, so he did not learn anything.
Yeah. I should really go and stalk more people.
Yeah.
This is insanity. I'm giving this movie a 2.
Me too. And usually I'm more lenient. I hardly ever go below a 5 rating. But this movie just pissed me off so much.
It's one of the few times I've actually seen you get mad at a film.
It is, and I know there are worse movies out there, but I just didn't get as emotional about them.
There are other films out there that are objectively worse.
Yes.
We still have one more movie to do for the Gauntlet garbage, by the way, I want to point out. There are definitely movies that are objectively worse. But, compare this to Birdemic. Birdemic, often considered to be one of the worst films ever made. But you know what? You look at that film, it's like, hey, man, it's a bunch of random guys with a camera. they tried to make a film about global warming. They were really stupid about how
Plus
they did it.
Plus, it's funny how bad it is.
It's funny how bad it is.
But, like...
So, yeah, that is objectively a worse film than this, but you want to talk about which one of these I would rather watch again? Oh, my God. Yes, that is an easy answer.
Yeah, like, the three big things that, like, really annoyed and angered me about this movie was the ableism, all the shitty characters that you don't know who to root for, and the injustice at the end. Like, I demand justice. Yeah. Like, Moose needs to go to jail. He needs to learn his lesson. He needs to learn why what he did was bad, but he never does.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting me. And Peach is here to comfort me. Thank you, Peach.
Yes. Yes, little comfort dog, let me lick away the tears of rage. Yeah, I got nothing else to add to that. Like, I agree with everything you just said. It was one of the few times where, like, you went off and I was just like, yep.
Yep.
I'm right there with you, so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a new thumbnail for that.
Oh, yeah. All the anger thumbnails are always me being upset. And you just stand there like, all right, I guess. So yeah, that's it for this review. Come back a little bit later for another Quest for the Best, in which we review one of the better films of last year. Mm-hmm. Then we have one more Gauntlet of Garbage and one more Quest for the Best, and then we will do our best movies of 2019 and our worst movies of 2019. We're in the home stretch, everybody. Mm-hmm. So hang in there. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.